Let's be honest, there's no possible way that you didn't know about planets, the solar system, and stars. But what do you know about exoplanets? And have you heard about the latest groundbreaking discovery by NASA's amazing space observatory, the James Webb Space Telescope, just this year? Or better, did you know that scientists now believe that discovering the atmosphere of planets and exoplanets is no longer an impossible feat? But what is the connection between the James Webb Space Telescope's discoveries, planets, exoplanets, and their atmosphere? If you're curious to find out, then watch to the end of this video. Also, if you want to know the latest on the James Webb Space Telescope, NASA news, and other space updates, click the like and subscribe buttons. With that said, let's jump right in. Coming back to the point, first things first, let's answer the question, what are exoplanets? You see, exoplanets are planets that orbit around stars other than our sun and are extremely difficult to spot because of the bright light emitted from the stars that they orbit around. And if you're wondering, so how can we find them, or how do scientists locate these exoplanets in space? Well, one of the ways that scientists use to search for exoplanets is by looking for slight variations in the movement of stars, known as wobbles. The reason why this is called wobbles is because when a star has planets orbiting it, the off-center orbit of these planets causes the star to appear to wobble. The problem with this method, however, is that although this method has been used to discover hundreds of planets so far, it is only effective for discovering larger planets like Jupiter, as smaller, Earth-like planets can create only a small wobble that is difficult to detect and locate. But worry not, scientists have now found a solution to this problem. That's right, you guessed it. This is where the James Webb Space Telescope comes in. In a nutshell, with its infrared detecting abilities, the groundbreaking discovery that the James Webb Space Telescope has made just this year is none other than detecting its first Earth-sized exoplanet named LHS 475b. The Earth-like exoplanet discovered by the JWST is located 41 light-years away. It orbits a small and dim star, and amazingly, on top of that, also has the ability to complete its orbit in just around 2 days. In addition, the discovery of this Earth-like exoplanet, which was made public in September of 2022 and was first presented at the American Astronomical Society meeting on January 11th, is also significant because previously almost all of the exoplanets discovered were quite large gas giants like Jupiter, whereas the Earth-like exoplanet that has been discovered by the JWST this time is much smaller in size. This is a great feat, especially for a telescope that is relatively new in the field. As a result, scientists now believe that this major breakthrough discovery will pave the way for JWST to identify more Earth-like planets in the future. And even more than that, scientists also believe that this discovery will help the James Webb Space Telescope to enter into another sphere in the spatial realm that has likewise faced quite a lot of challenges. Can you guess what that is? You guessed it, exploring the atmosphere of planets and exoplanets. As this arena in space has been relatively unexplored so far, especially by previous telescopes. And indeed, one of the main goals of current space and telescopic research on exoplanets is to gain knowledge of their atmospheres, as studying the atmospheres is believed to be better at evaluating the habitability of certain planets and exoplanets. So, for instance, according to Jacob Lustig Jaeger, the lead researcher from Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory, at the ASS meeting declared, in the coming years and decades, the quest for finding life on exoplanets will greatly depend on the detailed examination of exoplanet atmospheres, and the initial step in this journey is simply detecting their presence, which has now become true and quite possible, all thanks to NASA's amazing James Webb Space Telescope. However, it should be made clear that despite the JWST's capability to detect exoplanet atmospheres, it is still a challenging task. That is because, for starters, exoplanets are much smaller than stars, and secondly, they also emit much less light, which makes it difficult to detect them directly. Instead, what scientists have been doing so far is to study the host stars and look for small variations in their brightness or movement, which, in return, indicates the presence of a planet orbiting them. But this could all change with the JWST. So how did the JWST make this mind-blowing discovery? You see, while the James Webb Space Telescope was currently only able to detect the atmospheres of rocky planets that orbited around red dwarfs, which are small stars. However, soon after, as stated by Lustig Jaeger, this limited research turned out to be beneficial for the JWST in the search for habitable planets, as these rocky worlds that were similar in size to Earth helped the JWST understand the Earth-like exoplanet, and as a result, this knowledge helped the JWST make the recent MOST discovery. What happened in the case of the recent discovered exoplanet, LHS 475b, is that the JWST telescope utilized the transit method to detect it. What is the transit method, you ask? Well, simply put, the method involves observing a planet as it passes in front of its star, known as transit. During these events, the planet blocks a small amount of light coming from the star, causing a temporary decrease in the star's brightness. By measuring the change in brightness during a transit, astronomers can determine the size of the planet. The time interval between transits can also be used to calculate the distance of the planet from its star, which in turn gives an indication of the planet's temperature. A planet that is at the correct temperature, meaning not hot or not too cold, could potentially contain liquid water, which is essential for life. The Kepler mission has discovered thousands of planets, and NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite mission is expected to find even more by observing the entire sky and identifying planets orbiting the nearest, brightest stars. So what happened this time was that the JWST observed two transits, during which the exoplanet passed in front of its host star, resulting in a temporary, small dip in the star's brightness. What is more is that the team also used a technique called transmission spectroscopy to examine the exoplanet's atmosphere. And although the team could not confirm the exact composition of the atmosphere, they were able to eliminate certain possibilities. The results, for instance, indicated that the planet does not have a hydrogen-dominated atmosphere like Jupiter, or a pure methane atmosphere. Rather, scientists believe that it could potentially have a thicker carbon dioxide atmosphere like Venus, or even more mind-blowing, it could have no atmosphere at all, as a result of having its atmosphere stripped away by the heat and radiation of its star. Luckily for us, the research team has scheduled another observation of the planet using the JWST this summer, which should help to gather more information, and we are definitely excited for the results. Conclusively, the research shows the significant potential of the JWST as a tool for understanding exoplanets and other spatial mysteries that no other telescope has been able to detect so far. In Lustig Jaeger's own words, he says, "Even though we did not detect an atmosphere in this case, our measurements meet the sensitivity requirements to detect atmospheres of Earth-sized planets. This is a very exciting time. We are just beginning to explore the possibilities of the James Webb Space Telescope." With that said, what do you think of this amazing discovery by the JWST? Do you think that the JWST will be able to detect the atmospheres of exoplanets? Or do you think an even more powerful telescope that surpasses the JWST will be required for the task? What other discoveries are you hoping the JWST makes this year? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you've enjoyed watching this video, do press the like button and tap subscribe to stay notified and keep watching more amazing videos about space telescopes, NASA news, and other space updates. See you in our next video.